And I know a lot of men that are going to be listening to this video are that's going to resonate greatly with them, because if it's, the one thing I realized with my own experience as a man and my maleness is that if I'm experiencing it and if I'm feeling it, likely most other men are feeling it.
Right.
And once I actually accepted the fact that I'm really not that unique in many ways about my feelings and my emotions, because part of the things that we get into as men is thinking that our experience is indicative to ourselves, and that's just ego. Like,
Right.
really? All the
Right.
men on the planet, we're the only ones going through this? No.
Yeah.
So once I've embraced that it's not really my own experience, it's an experience of all men, then it actually lowered my expectation of having to deal with it, and I felt a bit better with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask you about why you came to seek me out
Okay.
as a coach and whatnot, and what so we'll start with that. How
Okay.
come you came to see me?
Well, I did. I think my first, the phrase I came to you with when that first meeting was that I really wanted to take my life to its next level. Even with having Mankind Project and being part of that I group, realizing that there's times in my life where my behavior and beliefs just aren't as congruent as they could be, and I think that was really bothering me a lot, with regard to certainly relationships, but with regard to work too, just realizing that there's so many situations that I have been shrinking away from, of not being my authentic self, and sort of choosing to shy away from that, and then sort of not like myself very much after, or find myself in situations that I'm finding kind of frustrating. And what's really mostly frustrating is I'm not being my authentic self. And so I guess I felt, because I'd heard that you were particularly focused more on men's issues and that sort of thing, and I thought, well, this seems like something that would work very, very nicely with the work going on with Mankind Group, and I'd say it has thus far. So
Good. That's
yeah,
good to
just
hear.
so you know.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I was going to ask you about coming forward and wanting to be more authentic, and I'll often end my videos with the declaration or challenging my audience to say, what do you deserve to have in your life? And I'm looking at the guys out there, because here we have a man here who believes he deserves more, and so he's coming and he's doing something about that. When did you decide you deserved more in your life?
Ooh, that's been it's been an ongoing process.
Right.
I think it probably really started a number of years ago. I had sort of a double whammy of my mother passed away from cancer, and about just a few weeks after that, my wife left me. So that was really
Ouch.
traumatizing, to be
Yeah.
honest. And so I think ever since then I've had that search. And I think, there's just been a bunch of different little stepping stones along the way to make me realize that as well. Making me realize I bring a lot of fear into relationships, for instance, especially actually, and this might resonate with other men out there who have gone through things like divorce, is I really realize that one thing I have done, and I'm learning to deal with it, is I really dragged with me that feeling of failure, I failed in my marriage, into particularly one other relationship. I can't believe, looking back, the degree to which I did that.
No kidding.
And I just think, why? But it was where I was at.
Right.
It was
And you didn't know what you didn't know.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think I have a much better handle on that now, which is really nice, to be honest. So
I really appreciate your honesty, and one of the things that I've really admired about you is your ability to actually get clear.
Oh, okay.
And you make my job easier as a coach, because you're willing to actually go to that authentic self, which is about, this is really what's going on for me, and I don't have to necessarily drag it out of you or really point out saying, this is really going on.
Oh, okay.
Because some of my clients go, no, that's not, yes. No, really? Yes. And let's talk, and I'll show you why that's going on. So it's really quite easy to work with you, because you have that clarity, and that clarity is what moves you forward. Have there been any surprises
Along the way?
along with me as being
Yes.
as your coach?
Totally, there has been. I think one of the biggest things that I realized was an awareness of carrying around with me inside me, I guess, an attitude that some of the lens with which I've been viewing the world is sort of the lens of a victim.
Oh, okay.
And just really, really recognizing, oh, I don't need to do that. And again, whether it's relationships or whether it's work, I often find sometimes I have, and it's been a real growing awareness in the last month of realizing that I get into these things sometimes where I think like, oh, this project is really big and it's going to be like, I'm going to be at so-and-so's mercy so much and I have no control over this thing and whatever. And now I'm recognizing, well, no, I don't have complete control, but I have way more control than I think. And it's the control to speak my mind and the control to say, look, I have been doing this for over 2 decades. I'm not just new at it. And so I do actually have expertise and all this sort of thing. And then even in a relationship sense, not even necessarily a romantic relationship because I'm not in one right now, but just relationships with people in my life, just realizing I can, if someone says something that kind of bothers me or rubs me the wrong way, in the past I've often said, well, I'll just let that sit.
Right.
And I won't really deal with it until I get sort of to the point where I'm so annoyed that I'm just going to blow. And I've definitely done that. I've never been proud of myself for doing that. And the last little while of realizing that, I'm not a victim that way and I do have power over a situation, I've been able to with actually not even, maybe like minor stress, say to someone, what you said actually really kind of hurt me. It kind of hurt my feelings and I just want to clear it. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I care about you. I want you in my life and whatever. And I've had some really great successes with that lately. And it just feels incredible. It actually feels like kind of a new way of being for me in the world. And I love it. It feels so much lighter.
Well, and there again, it's about being authentic and being not shame-based as to how you're feeling, and the fact that really people can't hurt you when you speak your truth. How can anyone say to you, no, you're not feeling that?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And if they do, well, that's a problem.
Yes.
But when you come from a place of going, this is the impact on me, and not you're a freaking jerk because you did that, but this is the impact, and this is what I want to know because I want to. And the reason we give feedback for 2 reasons. We either give feedback to improve the relationship, or we give feedback so we clear stuff out.
Right.
And so when you do either of those, it's an actual indication of how much you care about yourself, because you're going to not carry that and you're actually releasing it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's a spiral up because you're choosing to let that go.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Oh yeah, and honestly, like I said, that's been such a neat surprise. To be honest, I've been like, wow, that's kind of cool that this is happening. So.
Right on. Well, thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up about this? Seek Me as a.
I guess my challenge, and isn't the name of this the 72-day challenge or something like that? So I would have a challenge to all men out there actually, is to not be reticent, or if you on the fence of like, oh, I don't. If I say I need a life coach, that means that that's admitting to my vulnerability or that I don't know it all. My challenge would be, we don't know it all, and it feels so great to own vulnerability. So definitely, I guess this is my little ad for you, but would be to say seriously, to take that step and actually call someone like yourself or someone else or whatever and start that relationship, because or join a Mankind project, find out more about that kind of thing. Or even a challenge of just open up to more men in one's life, or open up to more people, period. To take that challenge, because it can have, it carries risks, but it also carries just amazing surprises.
Right.
That would be my view.
Well, thank you for that, and I really appreciate you offering that.
Yeah.
And really, in a lot of ways, what you're encouraging men is to not give their power away.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do, right? When we have to posture and we have to put on this airs and be, what I talk about quite a bit is grandiosity. When we do that, that's really about the fact that we're fearful, so we keep people at arm's length. And really, you can't be authentic with anyone else unless you're authentic with yourself. And inauthenticity is I don't know what it's wrought within the male psyche.
Oh yeah, it really, really, really is. Actually, one of the big things we've been talking about in the men's group, and it's so great. And I'm actually proud that I feel like the guy who started it a bit more was intimacy. Just talking about intimacy and intimacy problems and issues, and what an incredible area to talk about with other men. And I realized, like, wow, this feels fantastic. Number one, just for me to share,
right?
But then actually having cases where other men have shared with me, and it's just been like talking about, like, has your life gotten way better? Like, what even your relationship with your wife or whatever, since we've been talking about this stuff?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it really has been.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just blows me away. It's like, wow, that's awesome.
and getting out of the status quo.
Yeah.
Of this myth of masculinity, of how we're supposed to act and that kind of stuff. And I really believe, from the bottom of my heart, I believe men are ready. We're ready to do it different. We want to do it different. And there's places like Mankind Project. There's a lot of other men's groups out there. And it's really up to us to take that risk and go, I deserve more. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have more in my life, and I want to live the rest of my life in a place of joy and nothing else. I can be more comfortable in my skin.
Oh yeah.
And since you've been doing the Mankind Project, is it safe to say that you've been more comfortable in your skin?
Oh yeah, immensely more.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, and again with the life coach stuff too. I mean, it just, I find that just, I guess it's about honoring. It's about whether it's, again, bringing issues to a group of men in a Mankind Project meeting, or if it's seeing someone like yourself as a life coach. The minute that, for me, that some things that I realize I'm taking time to actually honor some things, it's just amazing the amount of growth that can kind of blossom from that. It's really quite something, actually. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you very much, Mark, for your time.
Yeah,
I appreciate
you.
And the plugs. I appreciate that a lot.
No problem.
So, Luc Bouchard with Solve Act Life Coaching Services. I've been a life coach for 22 years, and I get a lot of enjoyment and satisfaction out of my work. And really what it affords me is the ability to be authentic with other men and other people. And I just encourage you guys out there to embrace that, and really, you deserve it. Okay, take care.